Hey y'all, it's Kim again. So this is the Senate torture report, and I have to look at the name. I had to take a picture of it because it's so long. Hold on, let me get to it. It says the report of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Committee study of the Central Intelligence Agency's detention and interrogation program. And then after 9/11, many suspected terrorists were detained for extended periods and tortured, according to this report. It's pretty bad, but anyway. I guess it kind of goes with the degree of what they did or what they had a part in. Some of these people may have just been collaborators, but anyway, let's keep going here. So on March 24th, 2003, KSM underwent his 15th and final documented waterboarding session due to his intransigence in failing to identify suspected Abu Bakr al-Azdi operations in the United States, and for having lied about poison and biological warfare programs. KSM was described in the session as being composed, stoic, and resigned. That evening, the detention site received two reports. The first recounted the reporting of Majid Khan, who was still in the custody of a foreign government on Uzair. I don't know what that is, who ran the New York branch of his father's Karachi based import export business, and on Uzair's father. According to Khan, his meeting with the two were facilitated by Amar al Baluchi, I guess. The second report described the reporting of Ayman Ferris, I guess, who was in FBI custody on a plot to cut the suspension cables on the Brooklyn Bridge, an exploration of plans to derail trains and conduct an attack in Washington, D.C. KSM, whose detention site personnel described as boxed in by the new reporting, then stated that Usair's father, Saif al-Rahman Paracha, had agreed to smuggle explosives into the United States. As described elsewhere in this summary, the reported parties to the agreement denied that such an agreement existed, in confirming Ferris's, or Fariz maybe, I just say Ferris, but it's probably Fariz. Fariz's reporting, KSM exhibited what the Interagency Intelligence Committee on Terrorism would later describe as an effort to stay obvious in general and provide little information that might enable the U.S. to thwart attacks, with the exception of sleep deprivation, which continued for one more day. The use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against KSM stopped abruptly on March 24th, 2003. There are no CIA records directing the interrogation team to cease using the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against KSM, nor any contemporaneous documentation explaining the decision. After the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against KSM ends, the CIA continues to assess that KSM is withholding and fabricating information. On April 3rd, 2003, the Interagency Intelligence Committee on Terrorism produced an assessment of KSM's intelligence entitled Precious Truths Surrounded by a Bodyguard of Lies. The assessment, I may have to look that up. Okay, the assessment concluded that KSM was withholding or lying about terrorist plots and operatives targeting the United States. It also identified contradictions between KSM's reporting on CBRN and other sources. Let me take a picture of that really quick. Sorry, I just have to take a picture of that screen. The precious truths, we'll see. Since it's an intelligence report, we'll look into it. Okay, so anyway, On April 24th, 2003, FBI Director Robert Mueller uh, began seeking direct FBI access to KSM in order to better understand CIA reporting indicating threats to the U.S. cities. Despite personal commitments from DCI Tenet to Director Mueller, I don't know how you say that name, that access would be forthcoming. The CIA's CTC successfully formulated a CIA position whereby the FBI would not be provided access to KSM until his anticipated transfer to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Neither the CIA nor the FBI knew at that time that the transfer would not occur until September of 2006. Oof. Okay, between April 2003 and July 2003, KSM frustrated the CIA on a number of fronts. On May 7, 2003, after more than 2 months of conflicting reporting, Alex Station concluded that KSM consistently wavers on issues of UBL's location, protectors, and hosts, and that his information conveniently lacks sufficient detail to be actionable intelligence. On June 12, 2003, CIA headquarters indicated that it remained highly suspicious that KSM is withholding, exaggerating, misdirecting, or outright fabricating information on CBRN issues. At the end of April 2003, KSM was shown pictures of the recently captured Ammar al-Baluchi and Khalid bin Attash, I don't know, Atash maybe, Khalid, I don't know, whatever. After which he provided additional information related to their plotting in Karachi. Alex Station wrote in a May 20th, 2003 cable that we consider KSM's longstanding omission of this information to be a serious concern, especially as this omission may well have cost American lives had Pakistani authorities not been diligent in following up on unrelated criminal leads that led to the capture of Ammar bin Atash and other probable operators or operatives involved in the attack plans. In May and June 2003, Ammar al-Baluchi and Khalid bin Atash provided reporting that contradicted KSM's statements about the Heathrow airport plotting and included information that KSM had not provided. After KSM was confronted with this reporting, the deputy chief of Alex Station, redacted, wrote in an email, okay, that's it. Yet again, he lies and only admits details when he knows we know them from someone else. On April 19th, 2003, KSM was questioned for the first time about summer 2002 reporting from a Mazran bin Arshad, who was in the custody of a foreign government regarding the second wave plot. Informed that bin Arshad had been detained, KSM stated, I have forgotten about him. He's not in my mind at all. In response, Alex Station noted that it remains concerned that KSM's progression towards full debriefing status is not yet apparent where it counts most in relation to threats to U.S. interests, especially inside CONUS. I guess it's like the counterintelligence or something like that. I don't know. In June 2003, almost 3 months after the CIA had stopped using its enhanced interrogation techniques against KSM, senior Alex Station and RDG officers met at least twice to discuss concerns about KSM's lack of cooperation. As an Alex Station cable noted, at the time, KSM's pattern of behavior over the past 3 months, trying to control his environment, lying, and then admitting things only when pressed, that others have been caught and have likely admitted the plot is a cause of concern. In an email, one CIA officer noted that what KSM is doing is fairly typical of other detainees. KSM, Khalid bin Atash, and others are doing what makes sense in their situation to pretend cooperation. In the fall of 2003, after KSM's explanation about how to decrypt phone numbers related to British operative Isa al Brittani, KSM did not identify the operative Isa al Hindi or by his true name, Durin Berat, yielded no result. And after KSM misidentified another individual known not to be Isa as Isa, Deputy Chief of Alex Station, redacted, stated in an email that KSM was obstructing our ability to acquire good information, noting that KSM misidentifies photos when he knows we're fishing and misleads us on telephone numbers. Later, after KSM's transfer to detention site Black, Alex Station wrote that KSM may be fully forthcoming and honest on the topic of UBL's whereabouts. Despite repeated challenges, KSM maintained that he lacked information on UBL's location. Ugh. Anyway, KSM was transferred to detention site, redacted, unredacted, 2005, to detention site Brown on March, redacted, 2006, and to U.S. military detention at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba on September 5th, 2006. The CIA disseminated 831 intelligence reports from the interrogation of KSM over a period of 3.5 years. While KSM provided more intelligence reporting than any other detainee, nearly 15% of all CIA detainee intelligence reporting, CIA records indicate that KSM also received the most intelligence requirements and attention from CIA headquarters CIA interrogators, debriefers, analysts, and senior CIA leadership. Further, as noted, a significant amount of the disseminated intelligence reporting from KSM that the CIA identified as important threat reporting was later identified as fabricated. And I think this KSM, the Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, I think he was like the number 3 in the Osama bin Laden organization. I don't remember the other guy's name that was right above him, but obviously Osama bin Laden, somebody else, and then I think this Khalid dude. Yeah, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to KSM. Anyway, to H, the growth of the CIA's detention and interrogation program. 53 CIA detainees enter the CIA detention and interrogation program in 2003. While the CIA held detainees from 2003 to 2008, early 2003 was the most active period of the CIA's detention and interrogation program. Of the 119 detainees identified by the committee as held by the CIA, 53 were brought into custody in 2003, and of the 39 detainees the committee has found to have been subjected to the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. 17 were subjected to such techniques between January 2003 and August 2003. The CIA's enhanced interrogation during that time, were primarily used at detention site and detention site Blue. Other interrogations using the CIA's enhanced interrogation technique took place at the CIA redacted in country redacted, at which at least one CIA detainee was submerged in a bathtub filled with ice water. No, thank you. I don't like the cold. So I couldn't handle that. Just the threat of it would be enough. I'll give you everything. Sorry. In 2003, CIA interrogators sought and received approval to use the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against at least 5 detainees prior to their arrival at the CIA detention facility. In 2 of the other two of those cases, CIA headquarters approved the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques before they were requested by CIA personnel at the detention sites. The CIA establishes detention site black in country and then detention site violet in country. So a lot of this is redacted. The CIA entered into an agreement with the redacted in country redacted to host the CIA detention facility in something of 2002. In 2003, CIA headquarters invited the CIA station in country to identify ways to support the redacted, to demonstrate to redacted and the highest levels of the country redacted government that we deeply appreciate the cooperation and support for their detention program. The station responded with, oh wow, a big wish list, $1 million. I know it's not a million, but redacted. CIA headquarters provided the station with undisclosed amount, more than was requested for the purposes of the redacted subsidy. CIA detainees were transferred to detention site black in country in the fall of 2003. In August 2003, the U.S. ambassador in country sought to contact State Department officials to ensure that the State Department was aware of the CIA detention facility and its potential impact on our policy vis-a-vis the country, whatever government. The U.S. ambassador was told by the CIA station that this was not possible and that no one at the State Department, including the Secretary of State, was informed about the CIA detention facility in country. Wow. Describing the CIA's position was unacceptable, the ambassador then requested a signed document from at least the president's national security advisor describing the authorities of the program, including a statement that the CIA's interrogation techniques met legal and human rights standards, and explicit order to him not to discuss the program with the Secretary of State. Wow. CIA headquarters then sought the intervention of Deputy Secretary of State Richard Armitage, who called the U.S. ambassador. Deputy Secretary Armitage told the CIA to keep him and the Secretary of State informed so that they would not be caught unaware when an ambassador raised concerns. Nearly a year later, in May of 2004, revelations about U.S. detainee abuses at the U.S. military prison in Abu Ghraib, Iraq, prompted the same U.S. ambassador in country to seek information on CIA detention standards and interrogation methods. In the fall of 2004, when redacted U.S. ambassador to country sought documents authorizing the program, the CIA again sought the intervention of Deputy Secretary Armitage, who once again made strong remarks to the CIA about how he and the Secretary of State were cut out of the NSC, their National Security Council, clearance and coordination process with regard to the CIA program. According to CIA records, Armitage also questioned the efficacy of the program and the value of the intelligence derived from the program. While it is unclear how the redacted ambassador's concerns were resolved, he later joined the chief of station in making a presentation to country redacted on the CIA's detention and interrogation program. The presentation talking points did not describe the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, but represented that without the full range of these interrogation measures, we would not have succeeded in overcoming the resistance of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed or equally resistant HVDs, or I guess high value detainees. The talking points included many of the same inaccurate representations made to U.S. policymakers and others, attributing to CIA detainees critical information on the Karachi plot, the Heathrow plot, the second wave plot, and the Ghuraba cell, as well as intelligence related to Isa al-Hindi, Abu Talha al-Pakistani, Hambali, Jose Padilla, Binyam Muhammad, Sajid Badat, and Jafar al-Tayyar. I don't know how you say that name. I probably messed all those up, but anyway, the presentation also noted that the President of the United States had directed that he not be informed of the locations of the CIA detention facilities to ensure he would not or accidentally disclose the information. Plausible deniability. Okay. In separate country redacted, the CIA obtained approval of the redacted and the political leadership to establish a detention facility before informing the U.S. ambassador. As the CIA chief of station stated in his request to CIA headquarters to brief the ambassador, country redacted, and the redacted probably would ask the ambassador about the CIA detention facility. After redacted delayed briefing the redacted for however many months to the consternation of the CIA station, which wanted political approval prior to the arrival of CIA detainees, the redacted country official outside of the redacted, aware of the facility, was described as shocked, but nonetheless approved. By mid-2003, the CIA had concluded that its completed but still unused holding cell in country redacted was insufficient given the growing number of CIA detainees in the program and the CIA's interest in interrogating multiple detainees at the same detention site. The CIA thus sought to build a new expanded detention facility in the country. The CIA also offered, basically redacted this whole thing to show appreciation for the blank support for the program. According to the CIA cable, however, redacted, while the plan to construct the expanded facility was approved by redacted of the country, the CIA and redacted developed complex mechanisms to redacted in order to provide the redacted amounts to the redacted. So basically, in country complicated the arrangements when the country requested an update on planning for the CIA detention site. He was told redacted inaccurately that the planning had been discontinued and redacted when the facility received its first CIA detainees. Redacted informed the CIA redacted that the redacted of country probably has an incomplete notion regarding this facility's actual function, i.e., he probably believes that it's some sort of, I don't know, something. You would think just like a detention center, but I don't know why they would do that unless they call it a torture center. Okay, so at least 17 CIA detainees subjected to the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques without CIA headquarters authorization. CIA cables from the spring of 2003 and afterwards described multiple examples of interrogation practices at CIA detention sites that were inconsistent with the CIA's detention and interrogation guidelines. CIA officers at detention site Cobalt, led principally by Chief of Interrogations, redacted, also described a number of interrogation activities and cables that were not approved by CIA headquarters. The CIA headquarters failed to respond, inquire, or investigate. Cables revealing that the CIA's chief of interrogations used water dousing against detainees, including with cold water and or ice baths, as an interrogation technique without prior approval from CIA headquarters. Oof. Cables and records indicating that CIA detainees who were undergoing or had undergone the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques were subject to rectal rehydration without evidence of medical necessity. and that others were threatened with it. Oof. Mm-mm. Okay. Cables noting that groups of 4 or more interrogators who require practical experience to acquire their CIA interrogation certification were allowed to supply the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques as a group against a single detainee. And there's that. And cables revealing that the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques were used at CIA redacted that were not designated as CIA detention sites. Okay. In the first half of 2003, the CIA interrogated 4 detainees with medical complications in their lower extremities. 2 detainees had a broken foot, 1 detainee had a sprained ankle, and 1 detainee had a prosthetic leg. CIA interrogators shackled each of these detainees in the standing position for sleep deprivation for extended periods of time until medical personnel assessed that they could not maintain the position. The 2 detainees that each had a broken foot were also subjected to walling, stress positions, and cramped confinement. Oof. Despite the note in their interrogation plans that these specific enhanced interrogation techniques were not requested because of the medical condition of the detainees, CIA headquarters did not react to the site's use of these CIA enhanced interrogation techniques despite the lack of approval. Over the course of the CIA program, at least 39 detainees were subjected to 1 or more of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. CIA records indicate that there were at least 17 CIA detainees who were subjected to 1 or more CIA enhanced interrogation techniques without CIA headquarters approval. This count includes detainees who were approved for the use of some techniques but were subjected to unapproved techniques, as well as detainees for whom interrogators had no approvals to use any of the techniques. Ooh. This count also takes into account distinctions between techniques categorized as enhanced or standard by the CIA at the time they were applied. The 17 detainees who were subjected to techniques without the approval of CIA headquarters were Rafiq Bashir Al-Hami, Tafiq Nasir Awad Al-Bahandi. I hope I'm saying these names right. Hikmat Nafi Shakat, Lufti Al-Arab Arabi Al-Garisi, Muhammad Ahmad Ghulam Rabbani, aka Abu Badr, whatever. Gul Rahman, I think he was the one that died, and then Rabd Al Rahim Al Nishiri, Ramzi bin Al Shib Asadallah, Mustafa Al Hassawi, Abu Khalid, Laid bin Duman, aka Abu Haifa, I think, Abd Al Karim, Abu Hazim, geez whiz, Syed Ibrahim, Abu Yasir Al Jaziri, I don't know, as Suleiman Abdullah. In every case except Al Nashiri, the unauthorized, y'all can pause it if you want, the unauthorized techniques were detailed in CIA cables, but CIA headquarters did not respond or take action against the CIA personnel applying the unauthorized interrogation techniques. All right, I'm going to stop it there. I got some other stuff I need to get recorded today, so I'll just come back to this probably tomorrow. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good afternoon. Bye.